Hi, I am Julie Malcolm, and this is my story concerning my relationship with the Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB. I recently joined JMMB because I was having serious security and customer service issues with another financial entity, and JMMB was recommended as an organization that would not tolerate the sort of experiences that were being had at this other financial entity. Today, that feels like a mistake because I now have increased thoughts related to financial identity theft, banking fraud, mail fraud, the capacity of the organization to deal with these issues and others, including unauthorized access to client account data, unauthorized modifications to client account data, and in some cases, ineffective and inconsistent, inadequate communication that one would expect would be necessary to remedy serious security concerns by a customer. My concerns began on day one. Upon entering a particular branch, I was met by Miss Christine Benjamin, who introduced herself as a financial solutions manager. We proceeded to open multiple equity accounts. Upon completion of that, and she was uploading this data on her laptop while we completed forms to open these accounts. Upon completing that transaction, I was directed to a client services officer, a banking representative, Miss Laverne Henry, who I was told was responsible for opening the regular savings accounts for me. She met me by Miss Benjamin's door as I was directed to leave and told me that the system that we had just used, or the system within the branch that would facilitate the continuation of the opening of other accounts, regular banking accounts, was down, and as a result, she was unable to assist me further at that time. She instructed me to return home, informed me that she had adequate information to open the regular bank accounts, and that she would do so, and the account information would be emailed to me as soon as that was completed. I went home. The accounts that were promised, regular banking accounts, were emailed to me by Miss Christine Benjamin. I proceeded to attempt to log on to the electronic banking platform for JMMB, Moneyline, which was actually one of the selling points, or maybe the biggest selling point for me, because I love interacting with JMMB Moneyline. I love the autonomy that it gives me. I love the fact that during a pandemic, I do not have to get bundled into a bank line, but I can trade stocks, I can transfer funds, I can do all that I need to do within the comfort of my home. And so I immediately, upon reaching home, decided that I would self-register for the Moneyline experience. However, when I sought to do so, I recognized that the security code that should have been sent directly from JMMB to my personal cellular telephone did not come to me. Instead, it was sent to an unfamiliar telephone that was not assigned to me at all, instead of to the account numbers that I had submitted and that Miss Benjamin supposedly had uploaded while she spoke with me, because she opened the account as we spoke. Considering the serious security breach, I immediately reached out to her via email. Instantly, I got a response that said she was out of office and would be out for what appeared to be about just over 2 weeks. I tried other means of interacting with the bank, JMMB, to inform them of what had transpired. I think it was maybe a couple of days later, I got a response from Miss Laverne Henry. However, it was partially not the response that I had expected. I received a telephone call from Miss Laverne Henry, the banking representative that I had spoken with on day one. And she told me that my account numbers, the ones that were emailed to me, had changed and I should grab a pen because she was going to now direct me into writing down the new account numbers that were assigned to me. It sounded odd. I told her that and I asked her to email the account numbers to me instead, which she did. I was still handling an electronic device in a bid to investigate what was happening with the Moneyline experience. And so when the email came in, I immediately opened it. The account numbers were there. While I read the account numbers, however, another email came in. This time the email came from the email company. And the email stated that Miss Laverne Henry was attempting to recall the very email that I was reading, that I had just received like 30 seconds, 60 seconds prior. I sat in awe because I'm wondering, one, you changed my account numbers. Two, my telephone number was also changed. Three, you called me to inform me that my account numbers were changed. You instructed me to write down those account numbers. I asked you for emailed information. You sent it to me, but you have now sought to recall the email. The only evidence I have that we actually had a conversation, and you, I presume on behalf of JMMB, have changed my bank account numbers. So I sat with those thoughts for what felt like maybe 3 to 5 minutes when the phone rang again. And it was Miss Laverne Henry who said, well, she referred to me by name, and then she asked me if I had received an email from her. I told her, yes, I have received the email. She released a sigh and then attempted to end the conversation. So I was like, hold on, wait. I have some queries. I'm confused. Why would you change my account numbers? What led you to change it? What happened? Was there a security issue? Am I at risk? Why did you change it? Why did you inform me by telephone? Why have you now sought to recall the evidence that I have that we had that conversation regarding me being assigned new bank account numbers for an account that was just opened recently? I did not get any response. She said something tantamount to that being regular banking procedure. I had nothing to worry about. I ended the call. Oh, and in her email with the new telephone numbers, she also indicated that the issue regarding my telephone number being removed from my account and an unknown telephone number being assigned to me online for JMMB had been rectified. So I had now had permission to go ahead and resume completion of my application for the Moneyline access. I did. It went through. I was able to create my Moneyline profile. However, when I created my Moneyline profile, I recognized, of course, weeks later, that my stocks that I had initially asked to be transferred were not transferred. Remember, I mentioned that I had security issues with another financial entity. So when I spoke with Miss Benjamin, I had asked her to act on my behalf. Everything was given in writing. Permission was given in writing to do the transfer for me. I thought organization to organization would be more seamless, and I no longer wanted to interact with the organization that I had that horrible experience with. And she said, yes, everything was fine. Upon her return from her leave, I reached out to her and asked, how was the transfer going? Where are my stocks? Because I'm not seeing them. And she informed me that the process was now complete. The process for the transfer of stocks, that was now complete. and I should see the information updated to my Moneyline profile in short order. The following month, I checked again, they were not there. I reached out to Miss Benjamin again. Miss Benjamin told me that they were still awaiting confirmations for some issues from the other financial entity, and as a result, the transfer was not complete. This is the month following confirmation, emailed confirmation from Miss Benjamin that the transfer was complete. Of course, a slew of telephone calls and emails followed. I called everybody and anybody that I could have called with and emailed within JMMB. And what came of it, I thought would have been a solution, but it was not a solution. Nobody responded to my emails with my queries concerning possible security breaches that I had experienced. And the telephone conversations with the customer care representatives from JMMB were not effective. All I got from each representative I spoke with was, "Ma'am, we are aware of the issue and we have escalated it," and that's it. They're aware, it has been escalated, nothing happened. And so in my quest to be heard, in my quest for the security breaches to be removed, I made a Twitter post. Now, I don't have a large Twitter following. I'm sure I don't have even half of 100 people on there. But I made a Twitter post. And within an hour of making that post, my Twitter handle is Julie L. Malcolm, at Julie L. Malcolm, JulielMalcolm. After making that post, within an hour, the financial entity that could not send an email to me in response to my security queries, the financial institution that could not get a customer service representative on the line after the matter had been escalated numerous times, reached out to me and asked for additional information. So I gave them my name, gave them the location of the branch where my file was, and I think I gave them the date of my final submitted email to the organization. What followed that was a series of teleconference, Zoom meetings. I met with 3 particular individuals, and it is necessary for me to name them at this time because my emails have again been unanswered, and the regular text or calls have not been effective. So I met with Miss Simone Thomas from Manchester, Miss Lorraine Dunn from Clarendon, and Miss Betha Ann Johnson from, I think she sits on the board with oversight for client advocacy, client satisfaction, I think. I'm not sure at this point. I don't remember. And so we spoke, and I thought everything would have been remedied because finally I am being heard. These concerns would be addressed. The 3 ladies assumed responsibility for every single security challenge, every single security breach, every single customer service issue that I had. They apologized profusely, and they asked how I wanted to proceed. I told them I wanted to remain with the organization. I'm tired of jumping ship. I had jumped ship to JMMB because I had similar issues with another entity, and now to jump ship, it seems like I need to just stand and fight. And that's what I was doing. So I gave them the opportunity to show to me the customer service experience that they had promoted, the customer service experience that I had expected. And I specifically told them I do not want anybody to lose his or her job over what had transpired. Whatever went wrong, fix it and give me the regular, awesome JMMB customer service that I had heard about and had come to expect. They agreed. I finally thought that everything would have been fine, but far from it. Following that, my snail mailed account statements became inconsistent, so I did not receive them every single month. And when I did receive them, there were signs of them being opened, handled, resealed before submitted, being accessed by me, or before being submitted to me. I reached out to JMMB, informed them of the security challenge I was having, and asked how else I could get my statements. I was told I could get all of them electronically. I said, okay. They sent me the form. I completed the form, submitted the form. And again, I thought everything was fine until I started receiving duplicated statements, or I opened multiple accounts with the organization. I started receiving duplicated statements for one particular account. And this was the only account through which funds entered the organization on my behalf. This was the only account that was attached to my employment, the only account that was earmarked to receive my salaries. I started receiving duplicated statements for that account, and those statements were always delayed. They would come 24 to 48, sometimes up to 72 hours after the other statements were received. Of course, I didn't open the statements because I did not know if one was legit. And in addition to the legitimate statement, there was another one that had other issues that would pose an even bigger security breach. I reached out to JMMB, told them what was happening, and the written instruction I got from one of the three ladies with whom I spoke was that I should open the account, the email that is suspicious, and forward that email to them, because they were not able to ascertain whether I was really being sent two statements from them, and they didn't know how to rectify the situation outside of receiving that email from me. I explained that any and every person in IT who deals with cyber breaches would inform us otherwise. Do not open, do not forward, do not click on any blue link, do not download any attachment from any email that is suspicious. And against that background, I could not in good conscience do as she was requiring me to do. She said, okay, and there was a bit of back and forth in terms of emails being sent for updates, responses being given. And for that period, emails were frequent. And yes, it felt like something was being done, but it constantly felt also like I was being taken for a ride around and around in a circle. And so I would allow some time to pass, follow up for an update, allow some more time to pass, follow up for another update, in writing, of course. Nothing changed until I started receiving 0 statements. When that happened, I went back to trusted Twitter and I made another post. And after making that post, I ensured that I tagged MOCA, Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency. MOCA? Yeah, I think. Again, there was a response and the statements began coming back. But they were duplicated for that particular account that was earmarked to receive salaries. And in addition to that, I recall going to the branch because I wanted to modify the limit on my electronic card. When I entered the branch again, it was a banking decision. I was directed to the banking representative, Miss Laverne Henry. I remember sitting in her cubicle and she excused herself. She exited the office and returned with a form. When I read the form had no bearing on modifications made to ATM transactions via my electronic card. And so I asked her, why are you giving me this form? She said it was for telephone indemnity. So I informed her I did not come here, or I reminded her, I did not come here for telephone indemnity. I did not come here to give you permission to access my account, or to allow for access to be made to my accounts via telephone. I already have trust issues regarding the organization. So if you cannot write to me so that I have evidence of every single conversation that I've had with you, I will never request for you to honor any telephone calls made on my behalf to access my accounts or to transact any business regarding my accounts. I handed her back the form. She took the form. But then when remember I told you I had to resort to electronic statements instead of snail-mailed statements. When I submitted the client information form for that to happen, I received a response from the board member that I named earlier that they cannot proceed because the form that I had submitted indicated that I did not want telephone indemnity, but their records show that I had applied for and had received telephone indemnity. Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. And so the red flags went off again. So I spoke with her via email and recounted the conversation that I had with Miss Laverne Henry the day when I entered the branch, that I only went to modify or to make changes to my electronic access card as it relates to the ATM machine and their limits, and that I have a copy of that document. That was the only transaction I did. I did none other. And the fact that the form was presented to me for signing and I declined to sign it. I declined to apply for any such thing and I gave reasons for it. And now to hear that changes were made to my account. I don't know who made it. I don't know when it was made. I don't know for how long it was made. I don't know what risks I was exposed to as a result of those changes being made on my account. But at this point, this is controlled rage. I'm actually extremely angry at this point, and I'm disappointed in JMMB because as it relates to statements being received, as it relates to my telephone numbers being changed, as it relates to my bank account numbers being changed and being informed of critical security issues over the telephone, and the email with evidence being or attempting to be recalled by Miss Henry. At this point, I have zero trust for the organization. Yes, the accounts are still there. Little or nothing is there. But this has to be made public because there are 2 accounts out there that I know of that my credentials were used to open. I have never accessed these accounts. And let me just pause here to share those numbers. Normally, I would not share the numbers, and I will not share all of it, but I'm going to share the 4 last digits of those account numbers. It's 6257 and 6258, and the telephone number to which my financial data was assigned, where my security code was sent by JMMB after Miss Benjamin opened the account in front of me on my behalf, ended with 7835. And so it feels like I made a mistake in joining JMMB. These are not mere accusations. These are my experiences. And they're backed up with telephone data. They're backed up with emails. They're backed up with other information, written information, that proves my point that I have serious issues with the Jamaica money market brokers regarding their capacity to deal with mail fraud, whether electronic or Snail mail. Account access data changes without authorization. Details of accounts being changed without authorization. Ineffective and inconsistent communication. I feel as though I have been financially targeted. Can't understand why, because I'm not rich. But it does make sense because I do have a clean record. I do have a clean financial record. I do have a clean police record. So whereas I do not have tons of cash, it seems like I'm the prime target for this kind of behavior. And I personally do not feel that JMMB has dealt with it in a manner that will allay my fears or that have allayed my fears. This video, seeing that I get prompt feedback when I go public on social media, this video is my final call to JMMB to get the house that they have in order. The security breaches are many, they are recurrent, and there is absolutely no meaningful attempt made to change, to fix them, and to cause me to engage in financial transactions in a secure manner with effective customer service. Please like and share this video. Please tag MOCA. Please tag Financial Investigations Division or Department. Please tag Fraud Squad. I am Julie Malcolm, and this is my story. Hi, I'm Julie Malcolm, and this is my story concerning my relationship with the Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB. I joined JMMB during the pandemic because I was having